Ladies and gentlemen, it's a great honor and a pleasure here on the Victory of Light radio show. Rob Potter, broadcasting from inside the great central sun out to the Pleiades. Anyway, I'm here with my dear friend and mentor and guide, and one of the most profound UFO contactees in the modern era, prolific in writing all the books on my website. And I'm going to introduce you right now to Dr. Raymond Keller. Hi, Cos. How's it going?
Good, Rob. Thank you for the opportunity of being on the program today.
Yeah, we're gonna try and get some more stuff going here as things go forward and settle down. So um, let's talk about this Fireflyer, whatever that private moon landing. Ladies and gentlemen, I've been looking everywhere. I can't find a single video that shows any evidence that they landed. Um, Cause, would you like to comment? What do you think about that?
Sure, there's always been a shroud of mystery around the moon and projects related to the moon. And this began with the Apollo missions, beginning with Apollo 8 when they orbited the moon and up to the present day, all these missions to the moon. Remember in the 1990s, the Clementine probe went to do a survey of the lunar surface. Well, the Clementine probe was armed with a laser cannon. Why would a supposedly peaceful probe need a laser cannon? And so they definitely know a lot more about what's going on the moon. And I think that all these so-called civilian projects actually have to answer to government authorities, at least from the countries where they're launched. And
Okay.
when you look back, when you look back and the at the terms that they use for these different research projects, like this is has a blue ghost, right? Well, you look back at all the different programs in the Air Force and the U.S. government anyway that are color coded, like Red Star, uh, Blue Book, Blue Thunder, all these different projects. They are they're all related to extraterrestrials, and it goes back to Project Grudge. Before there was even a Project Blue Book in the Truman administration, the first UFO project was called Project Grudge, and it consisted of blue teams. They called them blue teams. And this is before Blue Book wasn't created until 1952 with Dr. J. Allen Hynek. But these blue teams, when did recon to UFO crash sites. And you might recall that it leaked out from Project Grudge that even back then we knew of the existence of 22 inhabited planets, even from other solar systems. And so obviously, the um, there have been lights in the sky and lies on the ground, as they say, when it comes to everything extraterrestrial, UFOs, the moon, what's really up on the moon. And this is just another example of it. They're never going to tell us the complete story about it. And in my books, like the Vast Venus Conspiracy, I went in great detail about what's going on the moon, what we really know about the moon, and I'd recommend people check it out because it's very detailed
Yeah,
and it's all documented in there.
I know I was thinking his great book, Rockets to Venus, The Vast Venus Conspiracy. I mean, ladies and gentlemen, you definitely need to see my website. And, I've been, I don't know what's going on in my head, folks, but I've been in a rut. I've been taking care of certain business, but I haven't really been focusing on things like I should. I mean, there's so many people that have been so prolific in information, and my information is a little different. It's a little more, um, I would say, difficult for people to digest. Although Raymond does it with such grace and ease. Um, he does not like to talk about the stuff that's controversial, that he lived on Venus for 2.5 months. And uh, can you tell him what you're working on now, or you prefer to keep that?
Um, I'll I'll keep it under my hat for the time
Okay.
being. I'm almost finished.
Okay. Uh-oh.
It's
So,
quite a big project.
as we're going
That's
very
all
good.
I could say about it.
Yeah, and we're gonna we'll be sharing that maybe before the conference in June or
Oh yeah, it should be out by then.
okay, yeah. So anyway, there's a project there, folks. So um
But
anyways,
I'm really looking forward to that to that conference and also going with you on the California tour coming up and to Sedona on the 12th of April.
yeah, let's go ahead and do that right now while you mentioned it, cause so you see here, this is my website, folks. So we have my upcoming event here. We've added a wonderful girl named Gail Fuller, the bougie healer. She lives in Mount Shasta, very connected, spiritually awakened, and has a lot of followers. And she's not a physical contact yet, but I've seen lots of photographs and lots of. I have a feeling she's meeting some visitors unbeknownst to her, as is often common, including Robert Short, myself, until um, we know, but until we actually, get to video them, like Raymond allowed me, it's unsure. So here's Raymond Cove. This is our beautiful friend Omnek, June 27th to July 2nd. The prices are going up, folks. You've got like maybe 2 days here. They're $475 for 5 days. You're going to be spending time with Omnek, the woman who lived on Venus. This is a special opportunity. And unfortunately, it's very stressful for me to do these conferences. I overbook, all the people want to come. And there's a lot of politics and a lot of drama. So I just want to keep it down to the spiritual information this time. And so Raymond, Omnek are literally Venusians in incarnation, as they told me I am. I don't have the modified journey or remembrances other than night classes. So let's go to the upcoming events. This is the one you click on this. You want to learn about the conference. I recommend you do that. We're only selling 40 tickets. I think we're getting up there now. And you've only got let's see, March, April, May, and it's you got 4 months left, but we're getting low on tickets. So if you're interested and you want to make a commitment, I suggest you do that. I also have offering tickets for volunteers. So this is the one I wanted to share with you. My good friend Lorian Fenton, who's done an amazing job with the MUFON event. Craig Campabasso is going to be there, my friend who I knew from Dr. Frank Strange's Inner Circle meetings. Robert Perella, and a lot of these are contactees. And there's different stuff. This is Craig's book, and Raymond will be there with all of his books. And so I don't know a lot of these people here, so it'll be interesting to learn from them. But I want you to just wait. When you get here to this page, you can also go here. You just click on it, and it's going to take you to a little page. And I talk about some stuff here. Um, uh, so I'm talking about the Venusian tour. So if you want to go to this UFO con, and join us in San Francisco, April 4th through 6th in 2025. Raymond and I will be arriving on the 3rd. We'll be bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, and set up in our booth on April 4th through 6th. Um, so you click on here, and we come up here, and this is where you want to get your tickets. I think they're pretty darn reasonable. And I recommend you get your tickets. It's very important, so she can know. So um, the volunteers and vendors I found that are full. Uh, Oh, I guess we have the schedule up. Let's go ahead and check that out. I'm not sure if it's up yet. So Friday registration, meet the speaker, speaker one, two. So I guess they don't actually technically have the speakers, or do they? Okay, they got a couple things going on. Experiencer group, and there's a movie with a filmmaker, and then Sunday sound healing. So they haven't really fleshed out the speakers yet. But Lorian is an amazing person. She has her own experiences. She comes to my conference, and she's done a wonderful job. And Fred actually works with the East Coast director of MUFON. So this is an amazing thing. If she gets the schedule up, you can make your plans. Let's just check the tickets out. If I remember, they're super reasonable. It's non-refundable like mine is and everything. It's important that so a full weekend pass, ladies and gentlemen, $140. Come on now. That's less than $50 a day of, morning till night conference speakers. She's in the big city, and I really would like to support her. She's a wonderful promoter. She works nights, and she's doing a wonderful job with these events. I've been to not every single one or anything, but I really love her and love to work. And it's an amazing venue at the hotel here. I think we've been here before, but it's a nice big hotel, nice rooms. They got a buffet, food. So we get free parking because we're part of the group. No parking, like Conscious Life Expo, is outrageous. So uh, you want
And
to,
Rob, look how reasonable the rooms are. I mean,
yeah,
for San Francisco, right next to the airport, just $129.
right,
That's
right.
a great deal.
Yeah, it's near 150 after taxes and fees, but um, we got our rooms, and I just want to recommend that people can support this. Look, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to say that there are many, many events right now, and Lorian's and my event, we focus on real contactees. And I'd like to, we'll go back to the moon real quick here in a minute, but I want to mention that the spiritual aspect of ufology has been kicked under the carpet by Gaia, Contact in the Desert, and Conscious Life Expo. I'm, the people that go there are wonderful. There's definitely some people that are trying to separate people from their uh, green energy in their pockets based on, I'm just going to call it outright charlatanism. I'm not talking about products or stuff like that. I'm just saying certainly not gonna name any names, but there's absolutely a lot of ridiculous um uh promulgations, and there's just you don't have to be important by being in the disclosure movement, and it's all about money now. And I'm gonna just comment briefly on the Conscious Life Expo. So many people there. The rooms are so filled, people running everywhere. They make so much money on the booths. And I see like the little psychic readers, the beautiful little women, the spiritual people. Some of them are tuned in and using different things and very well intended. There's like five of them every three steps you take. They're not making their $1,800 booth fee. So someone's raking in big, 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 big money, and almost everyone who goes there doesn't make the money back that they spend to get there. It's a big wide opener for these beautiful spiritual people who have a message and are coming or lost in the sea of bigger than the sea of tranquility. Let's put it that way. And you know, I've I know the people that some of the people that work there, and I'm not saying anyone. I think it's a decision by the top people there. They're working with Gaia, which is definitely limiting the disclosure. They do have real contactees. They're not focusing on the message of the extraterrestrials. Why? Because they won't have any real contactees who have experiences talking to them. Raymond Keller, has been meeting them for years, lived on Venus for 2.5 months, time traveled. He's got 12 books to prove it. I have videos of them on my website that Raymond arranged. I've met the security chief of the Venusians. At this point, I'm just kind of like shell shocked and I don't really know where to go. But I'm going to continue the mission and in my limited way, share the information. And I think I may be doing something. I'm going to end the political stuff on my site and just focus on the messages. I got a lot of stuff to share. So, cause let's go back to the moon real quick. And I want you to tell me, what do you think the significance is of the South Pole, the multinational organization, and what do you think they're doing down there? And what's the big plan to put a stake in the ground and claim they own the moon?
Well, Rob, there's strategic importance to the moon in controlling all of the space and near space around the Earth. So there's a military significance to that from a colonialist type of aspect,
A
and it's
military
different. It's
powered land.
definitely not what the what our what our friendly neighbors of other planets want to see happen. Um, but as far as the resources on the moon, the South Pole, there's a frozen lake there the size of Puerto Rico. And so there's a source of water there, easily accessible on the moon. And it's at a strategic point on the moon because it's at the terminator. Um, it's right at the spot that at the bottom of the pole that divides um, the face of the moon that we can see from the far side of the moon. So any communications between both sides would have to go through there. And of course, uh, human beings can exist on the moon without water and air. And the fact that there is water there uh, is, very, very important. And then in the lunar soil itself, there's abundant supply of oxygen. They call it the regolith, the lunar soil. So that's very important. And if we're going to have a primary base on the moon, then the South Pole is the perfect place for it.
Interesting. Now, ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Raymond Keller, tell us who owns the moon and who's kind of in charge.
Okay, well, on the far side of the moon, and I have photos in the Rockets to Venus, Final Countdown Rockets to Venus book
And I've
of
and I've shared them.
dome structures all over the backside of the moon, taken by the Ranger probe when it went around the moon. And these dome structures are complexes that are controlled by the Venusians and allocated to other planetary members of the Confederation that are in our solar system.
And
Uh,
probably some other federations are allowed to. They did tell me
yeah, yeah,
the
and
Canadians
other
are,
and other friendly ones, right?
right?
And it's interesting to know too that the late Paul Hellyer, the Canadian Defense Minister, he was talking about that we know about the presence of various other confederations and alliances and federations and so forth, star groups that are operative in our solar system. And he said about 80% of them have good intentions to the Earth, but there's another 20% that are suspect. So the fact that the Confederation has this base on the far side of the moon, which is called Clarion. The fact that it's there is proof that there are protectors like our guardian angels, and they've been keeping the bad guys at bay on our behalf. Um, until such a time as we can progress enough to become a member of it. There's 601 planets that are members of the Confederation, and we would be the 602nd. But we still have a long way to go.
Unfortunately, long is the operative verb here, or is that an adjective? Verb, I think. I'm not, Raymond is absolutely amazing as a writer. He's had that position for many, many lifetimes. He was actually a secretary at the Top Gun School at Miramar. And when his new project comes out, it's going to be absolutely amazing. I I had made a mistake, and this was on my site, and I hadn't noticed it, and um, and it was kind of hidden, so not many people saw it. But I decided I'm just going to go ahead and break protocols, and I'm not supposed to show a picture of the moon base commander, but here we go. You get to see part of her head. This is the moon base commander. She is an oversoul. Can you talk about being an oversoul? And she said she'd been in service to the earth for 300 years. I've said this many times, folks. You can look at my YouTubes, and anytime I talk about her, she taught Benjamin Franklin, Thomas Jefferson, Thomas Paine, probably Matt, so many. She was working in the French Revolution as well. She was a secretary to Jean Sylvian Bailey, a famous astronomer of the day. And they were working at one of the Lefnisseurs of the Masonic Lodge. Now, a lot of people have just saying, "Oh, the Masons are all bad." Cause, can you explain about the original Masons, about when they started, their intent, and explain about, obviously now it's being used for nefarious purposes by elites, but the average Mason today has no true history. They're so involved in handshakes and walking backwards and turning left and giving a sign. They've really lost the essence of their teachings. They're more involved in ritual from what I've can gather. I don't know. I'm sure there's a lot of metaphysical knowledge from many, many people in there, but due to the corruption of our government leaders, these people who are known worldwide homicidal, psychopathic maniacs creating wars, that is not the original intention of the Masons. Take us a little bit through the history of the Masons, and from the early days, and when Commander Rains was working with them in 1773 to whenever she did start working with
Oh,
Thomas.
yes. Well, these lodges began in the Age of Enlightenment, first in Europe, around the time of the American Revolution, and then over in coming to the Americas. And these were these were uh, these were men who were desiring further understanding of the natural world and seeking illumination. And uh, they had committees of correspondence. They had salons where they would meet and discuss these things. And and uh, the activities, of course, are um, not so much not so much secret as they are sacred. And but anybody who wants to know about them could find out about them. All of the information pertaining to these lodges and Venus, the planet Venus, or the blazing star, are outlined in I think it's in book number a little bit in book number 1, and then in book number 7,
And in
flying
the current
saucers from.
project, it's revealed quite a bit too. I'm hoping Raymond's really going to pull out all the stops here. I think Michael Arish said, don't make it all, a memoir thing. Oh, anyway, so let's just say let's talk about, so obviously with Benjamin Franklin being head of, quote, the Venus Lodge in Boston, Massachusetts, and the Boston Tea Party that they arranged, these were rebels. These were the intelligentsia. These are the thinkers in science and the forward um, individuals in the new Americas that were not really pleased with they came here to get away from the king, the crown control, and to forge a new society. And with the help of the Venusians and the hierarchy of light, managed to cobble together some things. Now, obviously, there were different views, and they were supposed to create their own money. And I think it was in Andrew Jackson, not long into the New Republic, they, went with the English bank and kind of sealed the fate of control. Would you agree?
Yeah, there was a big controversy over the National Bank and beginning with Hamilton, who was the
Hamilton.
Secretary of the uh, Treasury,
Yeah.
and it continued. It continued on up until it continued well into American history.
2025.
Yeah, it became overshadowed, of course, that controversy by the Civil War. By the time we got to the war between the states, so that,
Yeah.
but yeah, they were worried about the American sovereignty and maintaining a control over our own economy. And of course, back then the, uh, uh, the British Empire had the strongest economy in the world.
Yeah. I
So
mean,
we would be, I mean, we would be politically free, but
well,
many didn't want us to be economically tied to them as well.
and of course, all the big people that were doing imports with England, and still had ties back there, did want that the crown. And so that was a big difference between the revolutionaries. Let's talk about the infiltration from your opinion, your learned opinion of what took place and how they have gained control. And let's just say I know that it's very secretive. They have underground things. So you could have a cartel member, a police chief, a military guy, a government official, a CIA guy, all go and meet and have a roundtable on how to child traffic and do drugs. So, and sorry, folks, that's just the reality of what's going on here, and that's going to be revealed openly. We're getting the the blocks are tumbling, you know, P. Diddy, all these things or something. Let's not focus on that, but let's talk about. I want to bring people up to speed on the importance of the Venusians and their influence in the Masonic Lodge, and that it's benevolent. Everyone just, assumes that it was always evil. Can you explain about that a little bit from your opinion?
Oh yeah, uh, yeah, it's not evil, but I don't really focus on
I know he doesn't.
so much on the negative aspects, but I kind of agree with Onek on a lot of the things that she says and recommends that we should put our focus on, and really we need to align ourselves with higher vibrations
Yeah.
and of Venus and other more advanced planets, and some of the things that she had said at Germany in Germany when I was with her there, and then also at Mount Shasta at your conferences, is that we need to replace criticism and judgment with love and acceptance, and that would go a long way because that promotes unity and cooperation between groups and people so that they're not at each other's throats, because it's these wicked forces that you're talking about that want to pit us against each other. And that's the best advice that I've heard. I haven't heard any other ufologists or contactees talking about that, but Omnek makes that a point all the time, which is a really good thing. then we shouldn't limit our possibilities, we need to expand our horizons. And this is something that Omnek Onek talks about, of using our imagination as the key to creation. Because we do kind of live in a matrix. Some people have said that life is a dream, you know, and there's even a song, "Life is a Dream."
Life's a dream, and we're all dreamers wandering. Spirits on the
You-
edge of the eye of the storm.
and to um, we need to find ways to access that, to calm our souls down, and to go deeper in understanding. And
I know.
so that's one way we can do it. And use our imaginations to see what's possible.
Yeah,
Like the word impossible, right? The way it's spelled, Impossible.
I am
But
possible.
yeah, let's change that I'm to a break the contraction apart. I am possible. Or
Right.
just cut off the I'm altogether and just have possible. That's the way we should be looking at it.
I
And
appreciate
then
that.
another thing that she also talks about is focusing our attention on where we want to direct our energy, where we want the energy uh, to flow. And this is how we accomplish things, and we set our mind so that we can be receptive to the higher vibrations and higher powers. And we talked in the beginning of the program about the oversouls. We all have we all have an oversoul, or some might call it a guardian angel. Uh, and we are an aspect of that oversoul. We exist in a in a in a fixed point in space and time. But that oversoul, when we merge with that, we can connect with all the other aspects in other times and spaces and places. And then we're rising from the material plane, then we're acting on the astral plane, or even higher on the monadic plane, where these exalted beings and these higher dimensional worlds exist. So when we don't when we just confine our thinking to the material aspects of the physical world, we're cutting ourselves off from our higher self and our existence that we already have on these higher planes of existence, including the astral level of Venus, where Omnek is from.
Hmm. Well, I agree with all that, and thank you for the gentle chiding. But when the moon-based commander said, "Well, it's the bellicose militarists, the religious hucksters, the schemers," these people are still, unfortunately, in positions of power. And people are trying to understand, because when I say, oh, she worked with the Freemasons, saying that they did a good job trying to bring about a new way of thinking, a new political system free from the control or the matrix of, we can call them the fallen ones. And yes, I focus on that, but people are saying, well, she was working with the Freemasons. And I just wanted your expertise to just back up that it was benevolent and all of that.
Oh yes, at that time they were seeking enlightenment, and they also formed the nucleus of groups like the committees of correspondence and the Sons of Liberty, as you mentioned there, and the core cadre of the revolution. And so this was really important. I think was it all but two or three of the signers of the Declaration of Independence. I think they were all members of a Masonic lodge.
Yeah. Now, some people would call that a conspiracy, but I'm gonna share something with you here, and
Well, I would say that not all conspiracies uh,
Negative, yeah.
are negative. Of course, the freedom of the United States and the destiny of the United States and our creation as a free republic, if provided we can keep it that way.
Yeah, it's pretty sure we're going to keep it.
Was very, very important, and that was the important work that they were doing. So I would agree with what she said.
Yeah, I think I'm going to share something here in a second, but I think it's important that people realize that everything is not exactly uh, what they think it is. So you got to keep an open mind, and a lot of things we've been talking about here. Um, I'm going to share with you something here. I got to do a little redaction, so I can't. Um, my inner circle blog here. Um, I'm going to just share this. When you get to my landing page and you want to hear all the information from the moon base commander, the reason her picture is blacked out, they said, "What? Don't cast pearls before swine." The average person just wants to troll me and would copy this. It's kind of limited. You can only view it. You can't take this information. You can't do anything with it. And they feel that if people pay my inner circle membership, which is very modest, $59 for life. I know people that charge $100 a month to listen to them on the YouTube and stuff like that. So, um, mine has a lot of information. So I'm going to share with you what you would see on the landing page. So if you go to my landing page of the Inner Circle, if you join, um, you see here you get voice recorded message from the Queen of Venus. Um, you get the two Venusians that's quite famous on my website. You hear a video recorded message, and you have some other messages from Valiant Thor and stuff that are going to be going up here, at least the text. So do check out the website on the Inner Circle. So I wanted to go into we talked about the moon and the negative conspiracy. I just because they're lying completely, we know they have a secret space program. There is a lot of activity going on, and as the Queen of Venus had told us in one of the messages, we are preparing for your entry into the Galactic Confederation and having bases on the moon and Mars that will be in harmony and not be a negative, corrupt control network that's keeping the truth from the people. When you look at the Mars or the moon lander shooting that little rocket up into outer space, ripping holes in our ionosphere, and knowing that the government has reverse engineered spaceships since 1950. And I've talked about that when I rode to Egypt with Howard Menger and Wendell Stevens. And Howard told me the whole story, how he created a UFO for the government and wrapped it up in Colorado Springs in 1950. They promised him a stipend and no taxes. And on his way home, they tried to steal it. Men in black came. One guy pulled his jacket back, showed his gun, and the other guy walked towards him with a hypodermic. I said, "Howard, were you scared?" He goes, "Hell no, Rob. I landed in Iwo Jima." And Howard was, 6'3" or 4". He was a tall glass of water. And I'm sure at the time of this in 1950, he was a strapping guy. So the guy came at him and Howard blocked the hypodermic and uh, he used a nice word crap, but he beat the S out of that guy and he waved the other guy over and the guy just shook his head. So he kept the briefcase with the plans on his wrist and he went back
Yeah,
home.
he was in a flamethrower unit in Iwo Jima. He was right in the thick of it, but he was comforted by occasional visits from friends from Venus and other planets, and he did create an experimental uh, vehicle a UFO, kind of UFO with a propulsion, electromagnetic propulsion system, and he flown it from his home in New Jersey, and it landed in Ohio.
Right.
Like,
In the farmer's field. It just took off. He didn't have any guidance. So the
yeah,
government found it.
and
They researched the parts and they go, that's Howard Menger, because these parts were exotic and rare. So they
he,
came to his house after they had already threatened him previously. They
yeah,
said
he called it the X something or other.
the
I,
X1.
yeah, it was pretty amazing. I think it only took a few minutes to actually go from New Jersey to the middle of Ohio.
He doesn't know. He said the gravity is a push, not a pull, and it disappeared so quick that he didn't know where the hell it went until the government came up and they offered him a deal, and he went and built it for him. They built a guidance one. He says about 6 feet across. Then they built one that the guys could go up in. They went up for a test flight. Then they took the brass up and they took up a political person. They came down and they said goodbye. And when he went back after he didn't get any pay, he was really pissed. He went back to the place. They had completely re-landscaped the road and everything. They changed the names. He couldn't even remember where it went. So
So
that's
Rob, if
government.
anybody out there wants to know about the real history, early history of anti-gravity research and the secret space program, if they read my book number 7, Flying Saucers from Venus They Come,
Yeah,
they'll get the photographs, the documentation from the corporations that work with the government, the scientists that came over from Germany and other countries to work with American scientists in all these projects. And it's all documented and it's right there. I did the presentation at the MUFON in Pittsburgh,
yeah,
and it was very, very, very well received. And since that time, I've worked very closely with Fred Saluga, who's now promoted to the East Coast director of the Mutual Eastern States director for the Mutual UFO Network. We've
right,
written 3 books so far.
right. You're actually he's your wingman actually, but
Well,
he
no,
give the
I,
credit to him. Yeah,
yeah, I'm well, we research these things, or Fred really does most of the research because he's got the connections, but I primarily uh,
write it.
yeah, do the editing and so forth,
Right.
presenting the material in a clear, coherent manner.
Yeah, those are on my site too under shop here. Let me go to books. I have not gotten up the real resident aliens yet, I don't think. And I think I have Portal up here. So let me share that real quick. You know, folks, Raymond works very hard. He doesn't make any money from Amazon, so I do like to support him getting the books. I went down to Conscious Life Expo and I've got a check for Raymond. It's pretty small considering how many people were down there. So we have some series of books that you can get, 7 of them for $150. This is the one, and he has one now called Real Resident Aliens. I should put that up here. So look at all these books here, folks, that Raymond has. The Gospel of Thomas. I mean, you can check that out and all that stuff. So there's so much going on here with Dr. Keller. It's ridiculous. I wanted to share. Um, I was going over his new project, and I was looking at. Um, uh, so we're going to kind of put the Firefly to rest as what are they doing? No big deal. And why wouldn't they just tell us that they have free energy? I mean, ladies and gentlemen, we wouldn't have pollution. We wouldn't be in traffic. They have advanced healing technology that Valiant Thor and the others office, and they use it for themselves. And it's corruption, corruption, corruption. Again, how do we remove
That's the
it?
theme. That's the theme, Rob, of when I do the presentation for book number 7 is who stole our future? Because
Exactly.
we'd be living like the Jetsons right now.
Yeah. E- even their dog had his own.
Yeah, even Astro had a better.
So, so the point is, ladies and gentlemen, and this is what um, I want to empower people in their imagination to not have to worry. I want med beds, and these technologies exist. We all want them released. The Venusians have a technology very advanced, and Fred Bell had it in his book, and so we don't have to do anything other than empower ourselves through sovereignty, through truth, through knowledge, and to refuse to follow the dictates of the mad scientist traders of the planet. We don't have to focus on them, we ignore them. We have to move forward into inculcating the presence of God within ourselves. Now, I have had many metaphysical experiences, and most of this, you know, okay, I'll call it stuffy, you know, semi-angry uh, look at the situation is because there's a friend of Gabriel Green's called Winfro Brommel. He said, wrote a book called The UFOs are the Keys to Earth's Destiny. And I took that to heart. And I really feel that it's important that people know this, not to worship them, not to believe in them, but to listen and understand the message. And this is the message that Raymond lives, that Omnic embodies, and that we should all seek to emulate, which is really the message of Christ, of all Venusians, because Christ did come from Venus. And oh my God, we get into that, and people go nuts about Christ and religion, the Catholic Church. And um, I am going to be focusing more on the messages, but um, let's talk about. I looked in here earlier, and I found this. I was reading through Raymond's book again, and I saw um, this one here. Um, I wanted to get to the original uh, Unarius. Is it this one? Yeah. Let's see if this is the right one. I want to talk about a lady I met. No. So I want to go to. There we go. There we go. Here's the official side of Unarius. Here's this beautiful little woman and her husband. Um, and this is the Unarius Society. And so I'm going to share this cause. And Raymond actually got to go there and meet. And this woman was, it's really out there, folks. I don't want to like explode your head with conspiracies that you'll just think we're all crazy, but she's very psychic and very tuned in. And Raymond went there with Dolores Barrios, who then was a dual citizen of Venus and working with contactees around the world, and 500 years old at the time. And she didn't become the queen until 2012, and she was sitting next to Raymond on Venus when it was announced. So um, this is a wonderful woman, very, very spiritual. And here's their website. You want to check this out, folks. It's called unarius.org. They have about what is Unarius. Here's the founders right here. And this cute little couple. And they're also very involved in the borderland sciences, Lane Mead, who anyone wants to understand this. So these are soulmates, high spiritual masters, and they were fully awake in their mission. There wasn't so much confusion and negativity and in the world today at this point. They were you either listened to them in the spiritual message or you discarded it. Now everyone's got an opinion. Everyone thinks they know everything, and most people know very, very, very little. And God bless the people that are tuning into the new thing. So they had a $200 income, and they did so. It's an amazing history of these two. Uh, Very powerful, and uh, I wonder if we have some pictures. But she used to go around with some. Her hair was really high. She must have been under 5 feet, right, Cos?
Yeah, I think or maybe about 5 feet. Yeah.
She's a tiny little woman, but she had a power there. And I got I tried to get a reading from her, but she was busy and I got someone. But I really recommend this, ladies and gentlemen, unarius.org. If you have a moment, check it out. This is one of it's still functioning today. It was very powerful. And for the most part, they're doing a great job in keeping the teachings alive. And you know, Raymond had me look at, they got all the books and stuff. So they're,
And if they go to unarianwisdom.com, they can
okay.
also read a bunch of articles that I wrote.
Oh, okay. So we'll check that out too. Unarian Wisdom. So here they are, some articles in Tesla and free energy. I watched a video. They're demonstrating Tesla energy, free transmission, and how it works, and how the negative ion generators purify the air like my products do. And that's the technology that is part of the violet flame. And violet Taurus is actually a blue flame. So um, that's that. So once again, I want to remind you all, we've got a couple minutes here. So Kaz has to go, but I wanted to bring him on. I've been very distracted dealing with a lot of personal stuff right now. And it's important that I want to promote my conference. We definitely need more people. We're there's only 40 tickets or so. So they're going to sell out, I'm pretty sure, especially with the new girl coming on. So I wanted to encourage you, if you want to go, to get your tickets. I know they're a little pricey. If you want to volunteer, you have to give a $200 donation, which will be returned at the time of the conference after it's over. But a lot of people don't show up, so you're going to lose more money if you say I'm coming and decide not to come. So Kaz and I will be appearing. Let me go ahead and pull that up. I may as well.
Yeah,
Uh,
we look forward to meeting you at these different locations.
yeah, so check this out, folks. I'm going to be announcing this. I'll try to get this in a flyer either today or tomorrow, but we go here. And I've already put the information of the dates in here. MUFON is actually only part one of the Two Venusians tour. So we got Two Venusians at San Francisco Airport. You want to get your tickets there. The Two Venusians in Laguna Beach, California is absolutely free. Um, Raymond and I are sponsoring that. We're going to be talking to my original people who knew me in the early days, wearing a pyramid on my head, claiming I was having contact, from 1973. You know, it's not easy being a contactee. You get a lot of ridicule from your own friends. And um, this next year, everyone's going to know because the spaceships are going to be showing up um, all over the planet. And next year, a big thing I'm announcing, of course, is that they're going to be in Mount Shasta in 2026. So, part two is in Laguna Beach, California. It's going to be at this. You can read where it is. You can always call me if you're in Laguna Beach or LA and want to come down. Then we're going to go to Joshua Tree at the famous mental physics, very near the Integratron. Raymond and I may go out and have a visit there. Um, and the next day we have to sally forth to Sedona. So, but we're talking on the ninth, eighth. I'm sorry, on the 10th. So,
Well, in Sedona, it'll be on the 12th.
right, the 10th we're going to be, and here it's the ninth or 10th. I'm going to try and switch it to the 10th. I was living in Desert Hot Springs. I met Gabriel Green. So this is the location on Joshua Tree. This is where Yogananda wrote his interpretation of the second coming of Christ and the Bhagavad Gita, two of the most profound books you'll ever read. Then we're going on to Sedona, Arizona. We're going to be at the Unity Church. Is that correct, Cause?
Well, now it's called the Global Center for Christ
Oh, yeah.
Consciousness.
Well, there you go. Global Center for Christ Consciousness. And Raymond met the ascended Master El Moria and the good thief who died on the cross with Christ. So it's fitting that he presents here. Um, I'm just going to play Venusian recordings. We got 3 hours, um, and we're going to talk. I'm going to talk a little on the Great Red Brotherhood. Raymond's going to talk about Sister Thedra, a famous contactee who was present, and he wants to talk about the real resident aliens. That's kind of one of his favorite TV shows now. So Raymond's amazing. So, Cos, why don't you give us some more a parting, trying to give us 3 or 4 minutes here of some wisdom from the Venusians, and in this time of chaos and deceit on the television and in the politics.
Oh, sure, Rob. I
How's it?
would be happy to.
Thank you.
Um, I think, well, the Global Center for Christ Consciousness, it's a beautiful title, and it corresponds with the work and the mission of the Venusians. I know Omnek Onek, as the ambassador from Venus, would agree with that, and I, as the Venus historian, will double down on that. And it's creating a sense of planetary unity, that we're all in this in this together, and we need to pull together and help bring each other along, and just set aside petty differences, and work together. And as I was saying before, the Venusians are trying to uh, heighten our cosmic awareness, our level of understanding, and getting us to come out of our shells and broaden our perspectives, and and also to help us step into the power that we have. In Spalding's books on wisdom of the masters of the Far East, he talks about this process of stepping into your true power of who you are as a sons and daughters of God. And uh, we don't know just how powerful we really are until we try and exercise that power. And that's another reason why the Venusians are here.
Thank God, that's beautiful. He was referring to Baird T. Spalding, and I recommend you get that Wisdom of Teachings of the Masters of the Far East. It's basically about some British intelligentsia researchers, open-minded, destined to reveal the meaning of the masters in India, Jesus Christ, and high adepts who exhibit certain powers and live in the hidden caves of the Himalaya and influence, and beautiful stories, beautiful messages, and very much like it reminds me of Madame Blavatsky's book called Land of the Gods, where it's kind of interesting. She's searching and she finally gets up there in the Himalayas and this beautiful valley, and she's walking and walking, and all of a sudden this guy appears and guides her further up. And I think she, from what it looked like, she dropped her body, and she was in the astral, didn't recognize the difference. It was fully real. And she met Joan of Arc and some others. A beautiful, beautiful story about the guidance of those beings in the other realms, in the higher dimensions. Um, like we hear about Shambhala, and if you go back in my story there, you'll learn that Raymond um, tells us that Shambhala was created by the Venusians, and so was the Tibetan religion and Buddhism. So, um, you know, we have to recognize our forefathers in the history and where the information comes for. And as a long,
When the Buddha was in meditation and sitting under the Bodhi tree, Venus was rising. He was contemplating the rising of the morning star.
interesting.
That's when he had initially had his enlightenment.
Oh, sweet. So there you go, folks. Um, and as um, the Queen of Venus said, as you are, we once were. You have much to learn from us. They have a civilization that's been in the solar system intact for 24 million years. So there's a smaller population now. Lots of that you can learn. So I do want to encourage you. Let me take you back to my website and we'll fade out here. But we've got my Mount Shasta Summer Conference coming up, and you just click on that first banner, and you can go to this page here. This is a summer conference page. You get to schedule the speakers, the workshop location is not exactly revealed, but we're not probably going to have too many vendors, but volunteers, everything you want to know here. You can actually, see what we're going to do. All these things we're going to take place as a small group, and we're going to connect personally with Omnic and Raymond, especially, is extremely valuable. And I've said it before, and we can all say goodbye to Raymond for this year because he will be he will be ascending from the earth, and he'll be given a new body on Venus. And I hope to have evidence at some point that he has ascended and come back. I think there may be allowances for that as the earth changes. So keep your eyes on God and keep your heart centered and peaceful. Always have hope in your heart and do unto others as you would have done unto you. And as everyone's favorite passage, be ye kind to strangers, lest ye entertain angels unaware. This is the message of the Venus, to treat everyone equally and to be kind to everyone and help everyone as much as we can. And that doesn't happen in the military. That doesn't happen in politics. That doesn't happen in finance. But that can happen in your attitude, your vibration, and in your heart. And so we're going to be focusing on that information at the conference. And you're going to be seeing a lot more messages from me, from the inner circle and Dr. Frank Strange's, where the Venusian message will be shared freely. Cos, thank you so much. I know we've kept you a little late today, but I want to thank you so very much for coming on the show on the Victory of the Light. Okay, we'll talk to you.
Thank you, Rob. Victory to the light, ring of fire, blessings to you and all the viewers.
All right, bye.